Or not. Hey guys, it's the Red-Eyed Widow here. Back from a very long break. Apologize for the no content. I do have a new video with Lauren Ruth, a CBD expert. Somewhere around here, I'll show you it. And that's on Gentleman Stoner's own YouTube channel. This is mine, so I'll try to keep it short and sweet to my own stuff. I've been gone for a while, mainly because it's the season for cannabis. I thought was trying to find a home and a business that I like. Wasn't successful, but I did find my friend just called me and wanted me to deal with their plant health. And I'm kind of a plant specialist in the aspect that I can diagnose problems and fix the problems, mitigate the problems, and preventative measures. But that is completely sideshow. Today, I haven't shown you guys my garden in around like 4 months, so I thought it would be interesting to bring you guys back out. But I want to be more like designated and tailored to a specific plant, and so I wanted to kick back off with a ghost pepper plant. She's very beautiful. It's my first year growing a ghost pepper. I'm very excited that I was successful at it. I read a lot of grow advice on it, and none of it was all that helpful. It was more trial and error for me, and I mean, I should probably just stop talking and we should just go view it. And I'm going to give you some grow tips on a ghost pepper, show you it, and give you a little story behind her. So let's go. So here we are. I call her Lila. She is definitely a beauty, and she's so big. I guess I don't know if I want to start directly into the grow tips. Obviously she just completely goes crazy. And it's hard to believe that this thing was actually like around 4 to 5 inches tall when I got her. I actually have a cantaloupe leaf right in the way here. And you can probably see in her canopy, she is just decked out. So if I were to go into basically like my quick grow tips on a ghost pepper plant, and those are tomatoes in the back, by the way. Let's try to get actually like a good sized view of her. I'm going to try to get her. They're actually like right here was a giant actual branch that extended out here, but I think in passing my roommates might have knocked it down on accident. But no matter, because there's this giant thing that has sprung out right here. So I've read in tips that they do like humidity and they do like the heat, obviously, because they're a hot pepper. And they originated from India, so they like the temperature to remain the same. I do grow on top of a roof, so I'm able to simulate the heat. The humidity is pretty high. It's okay out here. They say it doesn't like to be fertilized, only probably like 3 times a year, and I want to just call probably like a little bit of like bull on that, just because I fertilize mine twice a week, and probably why it's so gigantic and enormous. I spray it with tea. I make tea, and I make such a simple tea. So step one, I would say, like, when you're fertilizing it, you can make a really simple tea with just cow manure and chicken manure and some, like, old tea bags you use for, your tea for like hot tea or cold tea or sun tea. You just stick those right in there. Maybe some coffee grounds is what I do. And then I put some water in it, let it seep a little bit, and mix it around a lot. And then I pretty much just like water it on in. So as you can let me actually give a little, a little view of the bottom, but what I planted it in is just a bag. And as you can see, it's just steer manure bag. It's probably around like half chicken and steer in there. They do, strangely, they actually plants like being in plastic bags. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Maybe it's the heat. I guess it's weird because do you expect that plants even like the roots to be hot? But I just planted it in steer and chicken manure compost. It's just fine. They love it. And then I fertilize just with some tea that I feed on in. And I told you how I basically make it. And then I just pretty much foliar feed it with the same stuff. Twice a week I foliar feed, and twice a week I fertilize it. Just people like to use a bunch of like complicated stuff, and what I have to say is like it's a plant. It needs very basic stuff. So the interesting story. Oh, so probably I need to go along more on the growing tips. She likes ghost pepper plants when they're smaller. They do not like the full-on heat. So put them in a bit of shade first, a little bit cooler conditions, and as she gets bigger, then move her to the full-on sun. Right here, it gets around like, I want to say like 7 hours a day, and it's full-on heat on top of the roof. So she loves it. She's doing just great. Her leaves are great, but that's probably because I feed it too much all the time. Like, and it's probably why it's big. Like I said, she was around like 4 and 5 inches tall when I got her. And I haven't like put any other pollen on there. I haven't self-pollinated it or pollinated it for it. It does it itself. A lot of it grows a lot of flowers first. And then it drops a lot in the beginning, and then it'll eventually turn on over to producing. I know, and this is the first year I'm doing pepper plants, but from what I know about pepper plants is that they are extremely hungry, and they're very light sensitive, heat sensitive, and humidity sensitive, and if they don't have the right conditions, they will drop their flowers. And it's very infuriating, it's very frustrating, and I've lost my cool a bunch of times just watching it happen. But this, when I first started out with this one, it was at a store, at a nursery, and she looked the saddest thing I have ever seen in my life. She was 4 inches tall, she was droopy, pretty sure she had some mites on it. I don't entirely know. It is the area in which I live in that they would have mites. And she looked maybe dehydrated or overwatered. I had no idea what was going on with her. It took her about 3 weeks to snap out of it. And I pruned a lot. I pruned all this off. This used to be where that branch is, or this used to be it. I don't know. But I'm going to let those grow out. I pruned it pretty much all the way up to here until like an even canopy once it gets that big. And then it pretty much just shoots off into oblivion, into like, who knows what it's doing right now, just how big it is. But I wouldn't say it needs directly any more pruning. I have no, at least from my experience, I want all the peppers. I'm kind of greedy like that. But when I got her, she was so sad. I'm pretty sure she probably had like a week and a half left in the same conditions of living. So the possibility that she even looks like this probably is because she's telling me thank you and just gonna produce for me, even though I don't even eat these things. So I just saved her because she looked sad. Now I have to figure out, like, what in the world am I gonna do with these things? Like, I've already tried one, way too spicy, even at this point. But I would say for the most part, they love sun. Obviously, ghost peppers would love sun. They do really well by themselves. They're very like low maintenance plants. If you can, well, I guess if you consider foliar feeding twice a week and then actually giving them tea, then maybe they're really needy. But for the most part, as you can tell, like she's really taken off. And I don't know if I'm missing any grow tips, because that's all I really have done with this plant is just the sticking it in steer and manure blend and chicken, and then just foliar feeding, and then with all, it's very simple. Like, I haven't had much difficulty with it. It took a bit of time for it to snap out of shock, but once it did, this thing is a grower. It grows quick and fast, and it's been definitely one of my favorite plants to grow.